The Pulley Design will give you some experience with using the Revolve command and 3D mirror, section cuts, and working with the layout space again. So the first thing you want to do is start off with just a basic section through part of this detail that eventually will revolve around the center axis, and then we'll do the same thing to create one of these holes and then subtract it from the main part. After that, we can create a section cut and then develop our dimensions in the layout. So the first thing here is, in a brand new drawing, you want to save that file, and then we're working in the 3D modeling ribbon. You can create some layers. The book suggests a few. I'm going to suggest a couple more that we'll need later on. The def points layer will be created automatically once you place your first dimension, so you don't have to create that one. But you'll need to have center lines layer, and just change the line type by clicking on continuous. Remember, and you can load the center line type and then click it here in this dialog box. And we'll need a layer called dimensions, one called object lines, another one. Now these are the two new ones, or ones that are not in the book. Section lines, because later on the last page you're asked to have a bolder line there for the section cut, so we'll make that a line weight of 0.3. And then the viewports layer, which you'll have thawed out and not frozen, but in the plot column you want to click on that little plotter so that it becomes a no plot layer, or later on you can freeze it. That's the option. Make it a no plot layer, or you can freeze it. Freezing it makes it look better for your portfolio. Okay, so those are the layers, and you're going to start to draw your object lines, so let's make that one current. Now this is also on 9-3. The book is drawing this in a different way. The book is using rectangles and creating regions and subtracting. I'm going to show you that you can use regular lines and then use a command called pedit to join the lines so that they're all continuous. So we'll start with the object lines current. You can start the line command, and then what I did was I picked a point, pulled my mouse straight up, typed in 1/8 for 1/8 of an inch, and enter. And then you'll probably have to zoom really close to it because it's real small line with the zoom magnification. You can even do a zoom extents and then roll the wheel back a little bit. Pull your mouse to the left and type in here 1/2 for 1/2. So, and enter. The first line was 1/8. The second line is 1/2. I'm going to come all the way down to what they have as the center line. I'll type in 2 and enter. And then I'll come to the right here, 3/4 for 3/4 and enter. And now I'm going to enter again because that's the center line, but the actual bottom part is 3/8 of an inch up from that. So I'll go ahead and start the offset command, type in 3/8 and enter, select the bottom line and then pick above it as an option. At this point, I can change this line to center line by selecting it, and then, so you're going to click right on it so that it has grips, and then drop your layer list down and click on center lines. It'll automatically put that, or make that layer the center line layer. Well, what you'll notice is that the line type scale is not small enough. Your line will be too solid or too big of a scale. So type in all one word LT scale, Right now it's set as 1, so type in 0.5 for half of that size and enter. And that way you'll be able to actually see your center line here. Now getting back to my drawing, I can start the line command, click here at this endpoint, pull my mouse straight up and type in 1/8 for 1/8. So start the offset command, type in 1/4 and enter, select the top line, pick below it, and then start the offset command again and type in 1 and enter. Select that line that you created and click below it. And then one more offset of 1/8 for this line on the left side and pick to the right. Now I'm ready to draw my lines that are angled from corner to corner here, and then use the trim command. I can type in TR or the trim icon right here and enter, and then enter again, and everything becomes a cutting edge. You can trim all of this these extra lines out. You're going to end up with a couple of lines that you'll have to erase because they're individual lines here that don't have a cutting edge over it. And that's our detail. Join these, see this being single lines and this being all one line. We can use what's called P-Edit. You can either type in P-E-D-I-T, or you can click on the Modify panel, the word Modify, and find it there, that little pencil icon, Edit Polyline. And then select here the line, one of the lines, it doesn't matter which one, of this section. It'll say in your command line, do you want to turn it into one? It's not one yet. Yes, I do, so press enter. And then type in J for join. And at that point, you can then select everything that you want to join and enter. And then enter again. We can go to the southeast isometric view, which is over here. You can go, you have a choice. You can either go to the view cube and pick on the bottom right corner, or you can go to the view tab and use here the views that are in this drop down under the view panel. So I'll go back to the home tab and click on this view cube. So now we're ready to create a revolve. When we use the revolve, we're looking in the modeling here panel. You'll find it underneath extrude. Go ahead and click on revolve, and then select here your section that we just drew and enter. And then the start point is the left side of this center line, or this back line here. I'm going to go ahead and click, and then the second, or the other axis endpoint, is going to be the end of this center line right here. You can already see when I pull my mouse around that it's being created, but it's asking me in my command line if I want to go all the way around 360, and I do, so I'll go ahead and press enter. And this is a 2D wireframe, but if I change my view here at the top, I can change it from 2D wireframe to conceptual. You can kind of see that it's working there. And now I'm creating these cylinders. We can go back to the top view and then find a spot here close to your detail. With the object lines current, we'll start the rectangle command. Click a point and type in at, which is shift 2, 1, 0.25, and enter. This will be half of one of those cylinders. Before we create a cylinder from this rectangle, we're going to make the Centerline Layer current so that we can draw a line from the midpoint of this bottom part of the rectangle. So start the line command and click here, midpoint, pull your mouse straight down 1.25 2, 5 and enter. And then pull your mouse to the right and left click. And what that does is it establishes a center line that will be in the middle of the cylinder so that when we move it to the pulley, it will be in place. So I can go ahead and actually erase this extra piece because we're looking at this relationship here. I need to make the object layer current again so that when I use Revolve, the cylinder will be created on the objects line layer. And now I'm ready to start the Revolve command. Select here this rectangle and enter it. Left click the bottom left corner and then the bottom right corner and press enter to accept 360. So now that we have that one cylinder and we have a relationship here created to the center of what is the center of the pulley, we can go to the southeast isometric view again. We'll use 3D array to array these around the center point. We can type in 3D array. It's 3D ARRAY and enter. We can then select our cylinder and enter it. And then in your command line you're asked if you're using rectangular or polar. You can type in P or you can just click right here on polar. And then the number of items that we're using will be 6, so type in 6 and enter. And then we want it to go all the way around, so press enter to accept the 360. And then rotate arrayed objects. It doesn't really matter if you rotate them or not. This would be, for example, if you have numbers and you don't want them to rotate because you're creating a clock, then you might not want them to, or yes, if you want them to rotate with the rotation. So the book is asking us to pick no, so type in N for no and enter. And then the center point of the array is going to be the end of this center line that we created, and the second point of the rotation is going to be the right side or the other end of this center line here. And you'll see that we use 3D array to array those cylinders in place. Before we move the cylinders into place, another thing that the book is asking us to do is to mirror this part of the pulley so that it's on the other side too. I'm going to hold my shift key down and press the wheel of my mouse to show you the difference between this one and the one that we're working with. We can mirror this pulley by using 3D mirror. Modify panel, and you can type in mirror 3D if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and click on the icon, select here the pulley and enter it, and then we're going to type in YZ, and YZ because we're using the YZ plane. It's not the XY anymore because it's turned on its side. So we'll type in YZ and enter. And then the center point is going to be that left side or the end point of that center line. And then do we want to delete the source objects? No, so press enter. And then we're going to union these two pieces into place. You see how this one is smooth and this one has a line? There's here in the solid editing panel the union command. I'm going to select that and then I'll click on these two individual solids and enter, and now it's unioned. If I go back over to the southeast isometric view, you can use your shift wheel. You can orbit there, or you can go back to your view cube, southeast isometric view. I'm going to move these cylinders into place using the endpoints of these center lines. So just use the regular move command to select these cylinders, enter them, pick the base point as the back end point of the center line for the cylinders. And then this is the tricky part where you have to kind of move your mouse along that center line until you see the endpoint marker, which is a square. You can then click and know that you have placed those cylinders from center to center. And now we're going to use subtract, which is right underneath union, to subtract these cylinders out and create the holes. You can start the subtract command, select the pulley, enter it, and then select here these cylinders to subtract and enter. Because of time constraints in this summer accelerated course, I'm going to give you the option for your portfolio and stronger experiences to create this layout, which will include 2 different views, including this section for the design that is a part of this chapter. Or you can continue. We'll go to layout, and inside this viewport we can find that finished model. I can erase this extra center line that's here. We'll use the scale of 1:1. You can then double click outside of the viewport so that you can select this viewport and kind of crop it like we have in other assignments, and also select it so that you can put that on the viewport's layer. I had it turned off, so it's going to prompt me that it was turned off, but if it was turned on, which yours probably will be, then it will turn to that color and you'll have this viewport that is no plot viewport. You can freeze it if you like, just to not see it, because you won't want to see it for your portfolio, right? So freeze it for that, and then go to the dimensions layer and annotate. In the annotation tab, you can use multi-line text to create your title if you'd like to put the cap locks on, and call this your assignment number. This one is assignment 22 and it's called a Pulley Design. You can go ahead and put your name there and highlight the title and underline it there so that you have some consistency in your design. You can change the color if you like of that layer so that when you create your snapshot or your screenshot, it might look a little bit better with a different color. Okay, so that is assignment 22 as kind of a basic quick version of it. You can then press print screen and paste that image into your PowerPoint or whatever you're using to create your portfolio, and then crop it in PowerPoint or Word, whatever document reader you're using. If you need help with that, let me know. If you decide to strengthen your portfolio and work on this layout, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. I can create a second video if you'd like the help with creating this layout. The requirement for the course is to finish at least this amount.